I think it was Nana who inspired me to be a photographer. I would spend time with her as a kid looking through her photo albums with her. She instilled the importance of people and place and connection to generations of family through photos. I look at her photos now and see that her photos are not what would be considered particularly good. There's lots of shadows, fingers over the lens. She missed the entire subject in the composition very often. In my professional career, I learned about the power of photography as a tool to connect and communicate with people. I photographed people who had never been photographed before or were always photographed in a particular way and not necessarily flattering. About 8 years ago, I decided to take photography a bit seriously and see where it could take me. I worked my ass off over the last 5 years, shooting live music in Melbourne, queer performance, festivals and events. The more unusual, the better. I felt I achieved 2 significant milestones in March 2020. Firstly, I was invited to be a staff photographer for Golden Plains Music Festival, and secondly, running an event for the 9th year of my personal project for International Women's Day. Immediately following this weekend, COVID happened in Melbourne and all my usual photography work ceased. This meant my obsession, my way of engaging with life, and also a source of income was gone. I had to find a new way of being able to photograph. During daily walks close to home, I met a few people. A man sitting in his front yard who told me he was 10 days sober, and a woman with a cooked chicken wrapped in a tea towel. I thought if I could walk to people, I could photograph them in their front yards. I created the Isolation Portrait series and documented over 60 households in the Upper Yarra Valley. When Melbourne had a few brief weeks of relaxed restrictions, I started a project of nudes in nature. This was short-lived as extreme lockdown came into place and I simply couldn't photograph anyone in person. I missed my artist friends and collaborating. My idea was to create virtual portraits with artists through Zoom and have the artist respond to the portrait and create a final artwork. I collaborated with 52 Victorian artists and produced a magazine. This project simply got me through lockdown. A week after second lockdown had lifted, about 135 days later, I did my first in real life shoot again. It reminded me how much I missed it and made me feel alive. I will forever be grateful to the Artist in Residence series of virtual portraits and getting me through that time. But I'm also really glad to be able to photograph face to face again.